Ayubowan. Vanakkam. I'm Vayoni Dimel. This is Boston Lanka News, bringing you news, views and entertainment from Boston and USA. Sri Lanka has many challenges ahead on the road to national reconciliation. Mixed reactions to the film Sri Lanka Killing Field. Measure to ban aid to Sri Lanka by a US Congressional Committee. It's still not a done deal. Sri Lankan film circuit in USA and Canada. Good news for Sri Lankan film lovers in USA and Canada. Sri Lanka held the local government elections in North last week. According to the Sri Lankan government spokesperson, it's a strong message to the international community that the government has established democracy in the former war-torn areas and people have all the freedom and human rights in this country. Meanwhile, US Secretary of State Hillary Clinton called for national reconciliation in Sri Lanka during her visit to India last week. According to Secretary Clinton, India's example of multicultural democracy should serve as a model for neighboring Sri Lanka. Sri Lankan government has yet to offer a plan for a durable political solution for people in North and East. The film Sri Lanka Killing Fields continue to draw mixed reactions. Last week, Sri Lankan TV channel broadcast what it said was the original version of the same video used by Channel 4. In this video, the soundtrack is in Tamil and Sri Lankan government claims the killers were Tamil rebels in army uniform. According to Channel 4, the video they have used had been independently verified by experts in forensic pathology and video analysis and had twice been subjected to months of tests by audiovisual experts commissioned by the UN. Meanwhile, a group of exiled Sri Lankan journalists who publicized the controversial mobile phone footage has challenged the Sri Lankan government to submit its Tamil language version for expert authentication. Boston Lanka contacted the director of Sri Lankan Muslim Information Centre in UK, attorney Saeed Bazir, to find out his views. Attorney Bazir joins from London. Mr. Bazir, recently the screening of the Sri Lanka Killing Fields in Channel 4 in UK created lots of different emotions in UK, Sri Lanka and around the world. As a Sri Lankan a political activist in UK, what is your response to the role the media is playing?
Media is, in fact, is ultra virus. Basically, they have gone well beyond their role as media and trying to be a kind of people who can bring allegations against a government which is elected by the people, a democratic government, which is not a dictatorship as such they claim. By their media or by the best people who are with the vested interest. But this is where we have drawn a line as to why a media has been acting as a participant rather than a spectator. So this is something, a media frenzy where they want to target a government, so-called feeble government, in the sense that no, they want all the Western countries are now up in arms to against Sri Lanka to bring some kind of threat to them, like by making all the media, by making all the countries to stopping AIDS and all that, to give a lot of pressure on the country, rather than supporting them to bring about a reconciliation process workable. So this is what I mean. When you interviewed me about 1 year ago, last year in July 2010. Where you asked me a question, I remember that in respect of the UN report, where I clearly said that this is something UN had been cited on several occasions. I mentioned that about in respect to UN reports, UN action now, but which is also quite rather than the Channel 4. Channel 4 is much more active than UN, much more active than British government, much more active than America.
There are many allegations, many misinformation and many inaccuracies in the film Sri Lanka Killing Fields. The Channel 4 is so vigorously promoting all over the world, according to Mr. Bazir.
as a Muslim people who were also victim of war, in the sense that we have been victim, like Sinhalese, like Tamils, who were innocent people of this country for the last 30 years, we all have been victims. So the terrorism has no any distinction about the race or area. In Sri Lanka, all over the place, even bomb blasted in Colombo, Kandy, all over the place. You name it, everywhere. So they have no geographical limitation of terrorism activities. Where the LTT has been all around Sri Lanka. They committed inhuman activities all these 30 years. The Sri Lankan government has given a number of occasions, given a warning to the public, warning to the civilians before the war to leave the places and come to safe haven they have created. But the LTT has refused them to go. This has been before months before the war, months before the so-called the event that we are now talking about. So in that case, even the number, death toll, is also something we haven't got any clear idea about how many people were killed. Suppose if you look at what the TNA was telling, the Tamil National Alliance at the time of soon after the war, is about 20,000. Then again, now some say 10,000. Some the civilian could have been killed. But then again, we see now, even recently in a radio program in the UK, London Broadcasting Corporation, where one of the veteran journalists, he said 7,000 people. So another journalist said it's 40,000 people. So where did they get the figures? Have they done any proper investigation into coming to that conclusion in respect to the death toll? These are all questions there, open-ended questions, which has not been answered.
Is there a personal animosity Channel 4 has with some of the Sri Lankan leaders? Where is the objectivity, even if there is any truth to some of their allegations? Why there is no chance has given to share the government side in the film the Channel 4 is promoting as an accurate portrayal of the incidents that happened during the last few weeks of the Sri Lankan war? These are some of the questions many Sri Lankans have about the film and about the Channel 4.
The Channel 4 is up in arms to bring this matter, not even within the UK. It's taken up everywhere, all over the world, even India. India now, which was already refused to broadcast this particular CD of this program footage, the killing field, then what now has happened is they have copied all these things and distributed CDs among Tamil villages in the South India. So what they want is now, they want to create a sense of animosity towards Sri Lanka. What is the purpose behind this? Why do they want to do that? Is that something they've been doing against in Iraq, in Libya, or all other places? No. So this is kind of a double standard, something exceeding the limit of media's role in bringing up reconciliation, or in bringing up, in reporting an incident or event or whatsoever, a tragedy or whatsoever you can call it. There is a limit, but this is far beyond the limit. This is what I feel.
U.S. Congressional Foreign Affairs Committee voted last week to ban aid to Sri Lanka unless the nation shows an accountability over the bloodshed in the final stages of its civil war in 2009. In a voice vote, the House Foreign Affairs Committee approved a measure that would ban all U.S. government funding to Sri Lanka except for humanitarian aid, demining, and activities to promote democracy and governance. The measure would only allow aid once the administration certifies progress by Sri Lanka on key concerns. The concerns include accountability for those involved in violations of human rights and war crimes at the end of Sri Lanka's civil war, including members of the defeated rebel Tamil Tigers. Other criteria include an improved climate for freedom of the press, an end to emergency regulations, and information from the government on the fate of people unaccounted for at the end of the civil war. Although this measure was approved by the Congressional Committee, it will not immediately take effect as it was in the form of an amendment for spending in the next fiscal year starting in October. A final package will come through lengthy negotiations between the House of Representatives and Senate. These lengthy negotiations and compromises for the final spending cuts will decide whether this measure against Sri Lanka will survive or not. Plans are underway to launch a film circuit for Sri Lankan films in USA and Canada. This has been a long-felt need for the Sri Lankan film fans living in USA and Canada. The newly formed Asian Film and Drama Foundation in USA is leading this project in collaboration with the National Film Corporation of Sri Lanka and the New Technicians Guild in Sri Lanka. In bringing this film circuit in USA, the organizers wish to thank Deepal Gunaratne of New Technicians Guild, Daminda Madavala, and editor of Sarasavya newspaper, Aruna Gunaratne. Piyumi Varnapurage, Secretary of the Asian Film and Drama Foundation in USA, joins from Hollywood, California to talk about this. Piyumi, this is a very exciting venture, a Sri Lankan cinema circuit in USA and Canada. Could you tell us a little bit about this effort?
Now, this will be a very proud moment for all of us as Sri Lankan cinema lovers, when the Sri Lankan Film Circuit, the very first of its kind, an international film circuit for Sri Lankan cinema, will be launched on Saturday, July 30th at Nase Cinemas in Artesia, California. This will be the fruit of a very hard-working group of people who still believe in our culture and our values, who still in very much love with the Sri Lankan cinema. Our main purpose is to have a common place where we all can get together as a community and to do something worthwhile to the community. For instance, you can sponsor a screening to raise funds to one of your own projects.
We understand that you will be screening the first film at the end of this month and that you have a very special guest coming from all the way from Sri Lanka. Could you please give us more information?
We will have our first screening, as I said, on the 30th, and the main actress of Juliet de Bhumikava is none other than Anuja Veerasinghe, who is also the co-producer of the movie. She will be attending as a guest of honor, and this will be our opening ceremony. So, we don't have to say much about, this person since we all know who Anuja Veerasinghe is. She's one of the, prominent artists who brought international recognition to our country. She has accepted our invitation very graciously and will be, coming here for a month-long visit where she will be attending few other state screenings as well. She has done so much to the Sri Lankan cinema, and at present she is on a mission where she helps the very less fortunate youth in our country through her Abhina Foundation. So we are so glad to have her here, and we are looking forward to have a great show with Anuja.
If somebody wants to act as an organizer in his or her state or town, either in USA or Canada, to organize a film for the Sri Lankan community, is it possible? Are you looking for more organizers?
Yes, of course we are. So far we have, organizers we have screened organizers in Texas, Washington, D.C., New York, Boston, Oregon, and Arizona, and we are still talking with Toronto, Calgary, and Montreal. So yes, we are looking for organizers, and they can have, if they're interested in having these screenings, they can visit our website, AFDFusa.com, or by calling me at 323-898-7167.
Thank you, Piyumi. That was Piyumi Varnapurage from Hollywood, California. That concludes our news edition. We'll meet you again with another news edition of News, Views and Entertainment from Boston and USA. Till then, goodbye.